Anything that is based on hegemony will eventually be self-defeating because injustice has no foundation.
Let's perhaps for a while focus a bit on geoeconomics. In China, many people think Russia's decision to link ruble with natural gas, use my own words, a revolutionary act. It's amazing. And obviously, Russia has successfully, more or less, in dealing with these sanctions, economic sanctions, financial sanctions. Indeed, when the West say, let's confiscate, freeze Russia's assets, this really destroyed the very foundation of the liberal economic order. So do you think, perhaps we can discuss briefly, do you think this link ruble with natural gas is so revolutionary it will destroy eventually the US monopoly dollar system?
What is important, the changes inside of Russia that are developing today maybe are more important than military successes or losses in Ukraine, because our country is undergoing so deep transformation inside, so cutting the lines, the links with the West, it is precisely a revolutionary event in Russia. And from a long time ago, starting from Putin coming to power, there were ideas how we need to replace the unipolar financial currency board system to financial multipolarity with a ruble as regional currency, with yuan as regional currency, maybe with Islamic real as regional currency, instead of having this unipolar currency system. But it was easy, it was practical to be inside of this financial unipolarity, and that was always delayed, this transition. And now we are obliged to accept this financial multipolarity because we have no other issue. So, and that is interesting. What we should done by our own power, by our decision to link our currency to gas, to oil, to start to make the deals with China, with all other partners in ruble, in yuan, in national currency. Now the West has obliged us to change this imperialism of dollar. And I think that is really revolutionary, because we could not speak about multipolar world having imperialist hegemonic currency. So I think that is really a great shift in geoeconomy. And I think that Russia isn't ready for that, but we are obliged now to do that on the high speed. So that is emergency issue, but that issue will affect the future. It maybe is made by tactical reasons, but it becomes irreversibly the strategy.
I think that just to build on what Professor Dugin has just argued, the dollar hegemony, it's not only an economic decision by the United States or for any nation state that wants to impart certain type of value to its currency. These decisions are deeply political, and they're backed up by total politics and power capacity of your country, including military. Where the power of the dollar is actually coming from is the future taxable income of the American people. That which is backed up by a military to defend it, and not real, but perceived faith and legitimacy of that system comes from that. Now, in plain language, of course, it's based on brute power and fraud, because you have one country that has the lopsided capacity to print dollars and twist the smaller country's arm to maintain large reserves of dollars. And then basically every country becomes sanctionable, which is why more than 70% of humanity today faces sanctions. So it's a tool of hegemony. China and Russia, of course, had been bartering for a long time. They would like to take steps in which they challenge the hegemony of the dollar. And I think that it is a matter of time. It will happen because the Chinese capacity, China has 1.4 billion people. Imagine the taxable capacity of the people from that type of public. This year alone, even in post-COVID time, have been projected for 5.5% growth in China. So its internal market is so huge that it can always, it can harvest value. China's capacity to harvest value is much, much greater than the United States. The question is now, which instrument of exchange is it going to do it in? And for how long is Russia going to maintain its dollar reserves? I mean, it's $630 billion now frozen with the US, with the Western institutions. China has about $1 trillion of treasury bills, which it is eager to dump. So these two countries alone, 140 million people in Russia, 1.4 billion in China, and sitting over an enormous landmass, have the capacity to actually dislodge the dollar, especially at a time when the Europeans are not very happy about towing the American line all the time, because America makes its allies go against its national interest. And so the dollar plays a very important role in that. And I think that even if they increase the interest rates, the wars that America is engaged in, precipitating all over the world, is bound to bring in a level of inflation in which the dollar will get hurt. Its buying capacity becomes less and less. So anything that is based on hegemony will eventually be self-defeating, because injustice has no foundation.
Yes, indeed. Once the United States has weaponized US dollar, has weaponized the SWIFT system, has weaponized everything, and then it will be a weapon against itself. After all, money and currency has to do with the whole credibility of your own system. If that kind of credibility is lost, then unfortunately, I think the decline of the dollar and the whole system will be inevitable.